Today is April 7th. Gosh. Yeah. Sorry, I need to turn that background music down a little bit. This is a conversation with Santa Muerta. It's been a pretty emotional day. The last couple days for me. A good friend of my brother's, Scottish fellow named Tom, passed from the virus. He was in his 50s, had a wife and kids, and breaks my heart. So I'm just recording a session with Santa Muerta, one of the divine powers I have that comes to me through dreams. And I'm just giving Santa Muerta a platform to converse with me. I know that all, who pass I pray for her to help them to transition to where they need to be with unconditional love. Whew. Yeah, I went through a box of tissues today. And I just let myself feel it. And that's a good thing to do. Let yourself feel it. Process it. Tough. And I really do know, I can feel it now with some of the things I remember from the nightmares that I had. And I'll get the date for you exactly, because I have it in my journal here. What date? I logged it. I know I keep bringing that up, and I wanted to tell you guys. So this is going to be a very chill chat read that I put up. Okay? So just relax. And while I look for that date, I know it was back a bit. You can feel free to go. Either you can put this on pause or skip on through or go to the bathroom, get yourself a nice cup of tea or a cool drink. Let me see here now. This is the good thing. And a little bit of a difficult thing is I have to find it. But I do date and log. Oh, and pardon the wound vac. There we go with that. The whoopee cushion fart machine. Okay, let's see. That was February 8th. Yes, it was February 8th. And here we go. The 7th and the 8th. Okay. I logged it in. Yes. Okay, I the 7th of my dreams begin the 7th of February, where I kept waking up and I'd go right back to sleep and I'd go right back into it. And I would go back to a different starting point or location in the dream. It was really awful. I wrote it was intense. I sought to wake up from it as it was heartbreaking, extremely frustrating, and I could not save the most vulnerable, little children, those, even pets. Now, we've just heard and found out that cats and dogs can get the coronavirus. So, and it can cause them death. So, you know what? If you have pets, make sure that nobody is touching their fur that may have been ill. Be very seriously. I'm not trying to be ridiculous. This is a thing. Especially, I feel like cats. From that dream that I had. Okay? But dogs and cats can get it. Look into it. Don't believe me? Look into it. Inform yourself as you need to. They'll get diarrhea, they'll get certain signs, not apparently dissimilar from the human beings. So, do mind who's been touching your pet and their coat and things like that. And if you don't believe me, what harm would it do, right? If you love your pet and you love your family, it's another way that maybe the pet would get not such a thing, but somebody could touch the fur. There is don't believe me, look it up. And I'm not trying to be extreme or ridiculous. It is just like I would tell you to put on a mask, wash your hands. The pet fur goes right there too, okay? Dig into that. Please Google into it so we can keep all our loved ones as well as we can and take care of each other. Okay, now there's like 3 pages, and I won't bother you with it all, but I'll just get to the points of it. I could not save pets and children, especially seen as really little. I couldn't even save self or others as a sudden breaking open of the earth rumbled and pushed forward like a land tsunami wave. Earthquake, something unusual about it. And it wasn't like an earthquake. Trust, I'm in California. I've been living here since 1986. I know about earthquakes. I've been through the big one. And probably won't be the biggest one that we'll have, unfortunately, in this state. But this wasn't that kind of earthquake. Now I know it is the rumbling, I believe, of the virus spreading across the land. And continents and everything. But now I know that symbology. I couldn't figure it out at the time. I thought, is that I'm having, these are very lucid. And I thought, is that an earthquake? And I knew it wasn't. So that's why I took note here. I think you can see in the 7th. I'm American, so I write the month first and day next. So it was February 7th that I had these start. All right. My voice a little scratchy because I had a good cry and then I have my allergies, but I'm okay. I'm dealing with it. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so I was saying like a tsunami wave, earthquake, but something unusual about it. Yes, I know. I'm sorry about my handwriting. It was terrifying. I was standing, no wheelchair, that means no WC, outside me. Oh, outside in darkness. Oh, yes, now this part I really do recall. And it was night, and I was in front of a house. And it was so strange because, like the exterior wall was invisible, so I could like X-ray. I could see right through that exterior wall. Um, it was like late at night or early in the morning, but still dark. And I could see through, like I said, that exterior wall of the home. Um, was transparent, and I could see right through. I could see the glow of a television, and that it was late. And I felt like it was a female, and that they were alone, and they were kind of, as we do, snuggled up on their sofa with their blanket and watching the telly. And I felt like it was a young woman. And I really don't know what the gist of it, but I was just felt like I was trying to get her attention, trying to warn her of this thing I was experiencing. And I feel like now, in reflection, that she is a fellow empath. And just because not only did I get this feeling, but there were other people that were online that are people that work with spirit, and they were getting this too back in January and February, and they were feeling things. Uh, One of them is indigenous lady, young lady by the name of Ruth Hopkins. She was saying it, and I remember that. I follow her on Twitter, and I was seeing it, and I was feeling it, and I thought, okay, well, all we can do is just, thought to myself, I did say to Ruth, I feel like there's something big coming too. And she doesn't know me from it. She doesn't really know me, but I like her on Twitter. She's one of my favorite accounts, and so if you don't follow Ruth Hopkins, you should. She's a real kick in the pants, and she's very wise, and I admire her as a young person. I'm a little older, so, but I just remember that. I remember that in aspect to this. Okay, so I could see that there was a young lady, and well, she was kind of youngish, but not super youngish. To me, young is like, you're in your 30s, you're a kid. And I felt like she was in her latter 20s, early 30s, maybe. And she had brown hair, and I could see that. And it was like, just going back to the dream, it's starting to come back. She had like shoulder length brown, kind of like light brown, reddish hair, fair complexion, and she was just sitting there, and I feel like she was kind of like how you are, when you start to kind of zone, when you just kind of relax and you're chilling. And I was just trying to, I felt like I was trying to relate this urgency to her that I had just felt, and like, like telepathically. That's the only way I knew how. I could feel that I saw her actually stand up. And I was so frustrated trying, though, to get across to her empathically, telepathically, this sense of urgency. Ooh, wound back sounds like a fart machine. So here's a bit of a laugh along with our serious nature. So today, I guess this is going to be more on a dream, and then I'll go into a reading with Santa Muerta through the cards, okay, in regard to my dream. So I'll probably break this down into 2 videos. I may or may not. We'll see how this goes because I'm already 15 minutes into just doing the dream and I'm not yet done. Okay, so I saw this young lady, and I feel like in retrospect this is me trying to urge a fellow empath. I didn't know her. And I don't really know. Let me see. I didn't really feel like a sense of where this was. I'm trying to remember the landscape. But it felt more like an A-frame. And it quite a nice looking house. Nonetheless, it doesn't really matter. This person was a fellow empath, and I was just kind of passing along the sound of the alarm telepathically to somebody whose receptors were open. So I'm shown her. Let's see here. And I'm trying to, yes, okay. My urgent wish need for her to get up and to, I put leave the area, but I feel like this means take action and know that there's something urgent. Have your guard up, even in spirit. I was trying to get this woman's attention to join me, to notice, to use spidey senses. I feel at one point I was almost getting to her to feel the urgency and the point that it's a proactive urgency to do something, to be ready to do something, to know that something's coming. So I write here, I'm specifically shown Earth, but it is a huge earthquake where land just pushes suddenly up, buckling. Waves of land debris roll. There's no support under one's feet as the earth shifts, splits, tumbling like waves of earth. I feel it's seismic, but it's not. And this is what I think is the virus, passing from land to land, how it traveled and is traveling. And I felt like this dream goes back to one I had of a neighborhood where I was crying at sunset, wake up. And that dream was like when my kids were little. So my kids are not kids anymore, boo-hoo. They'll always be kids to me, but they are in their latter 20s and mid-20s. So this is going back over 20 years ago. To that other dream that I began to, of lucid dreaming cycle, where I knew something was coming. And this is a new era, folks. This is the era changer. This is what my dreams were about. And I'm sure for many other people, empaths are going to know what I'm talking about, maybe be able to link up their own stuff. Go back to your journals, look it over. You may not even have to. So anyhow, for me, I'm just sharing this with you. And in that dream, I remember I was trying to get people to wake up, to take seriously something. And I saw people, again, I could x-ray see that people weren't taking it seriously. There were people still wanting to party, to do their drugs and drink and get together and ignore and not take seriously something that was coming. And so it was, and people were in denial, heavy denial and disinterested. So I could feel them ignoring me, and others I could feel were also alert and calling out. And we were running down this street. And we were heading toward the sunset in that dream. So I believe symbolically that at that time, 20 years ago, we were going toward the close of an era, and to now begin this other one that is now upon us. And my dreams pick back up and kind of, in my, not kind of, are like a needle being dropped on a record. You know, being, if you've ever played vinyl records, you're going to understand that you have to lift it up and you have to set the needle and position it to hit just the right groove for the song, the right point. And that's where I feel we're hovering. Well, not just hovering, we are now in. If that makes any sense to any of you, let me know in the comments. Okay? Ugh, I'm kind of shaking. These are not, I'm not kidding, folks. This is the one thing I do have. I'm not good at much anything else. But this stuff has come to me all my life, and it's in the women side of my family in particular. Empaths. So, anyhow, I and these other people, in the first set of lucid dreaming that I had back when my kids were little, over 20 years ago, were running down this street. So I know that there were other people experiencing this too, that were being warned something was coming. And what I really think is that this is all a hard reset. And unfortunately, the good go along with those who are not so innocent with these things. And such as Tom, such as your loved ones, and people that we all care about mutually that maybe are on a higher profile, you know. This world will go through, and we have yet to go through a profound mourning period of the people that we will collectively lose. And we need to give ourselves permission to grieve. We need to give ourselves permission to suddenly break down. Sorry. If we need to, in that shower, and have a good cry, okay? So permit yourself to feel. Sorry. Woo! It's tough being empathic and a mush pot. And I am definitely that, if nothing else. I have a lot of water in my chart. My moon is in Pisces. My rising sign is in Pisces. And thank God for my earth sign being in Virgo. But I'm still pretty wishy-washy, you can probably tell. And I have my feels. So I'm pretty sensitive. So folks, please take seriously, this is the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. But there's, along with these very, very, very heartbreaking things that we're going through, and loss of those we love and people and things, and all the changes that come with that, and that will come with this, there's a window of opportunity for us to change the things we've always needed to change, and that means in government. These corrupt you-know-whats, we must push them out of office. And I don't care what office they're in, who they are, and what nation. We have not been served very well, and we have been constantly, and more, it seems, as years have gone on, the level of corruption around the world is at a peak. I know it's always been there, but now, yes, we are more aware of it through our internet and things like that. But you know what? It's just gotten more devious. It's just gotten more insidious. And to where we must demand change. And we must empower ourselves and take our power back. The hope and the help is through we the people, and not through looking to just government. We have to make government work for us. We have to have leaders that are not going to pull this bipartisan nonsense of blame. And when we can look and say, who's blocking and holding things up? And we can see, in America, it's the GOP and the Republican Party who are gaslighting a very sad sack who actually believe them. And yes, if that's you, take a hike. Get off my channel. And in other nations, it'll be clear. It'll be clear who's failed you. And if the scales haven't fallen from your eyes, let me tell you, then you're in deep trouble as a person, because the collective rest will have their scales drop from their eyes. It's a new time, and I'm telling you, it is going to be for the better, but it's going to be a lot of hard work, so we have to roll up our sleeves, but it's good work. It's good work. Okay? Where we lift up, and I do see that what we will go toward is taking health care very seriously. We begin to finally employ the changes and get it rolling. That, hey, guess what? We value the elderly. We value the people who have chronic illness in our midst, and we demand that there be compassionate care for them. We demand compassionate care not only for our own loved ones and not just a certain sector of society that can pay for it. Healthcare is a right, not a luxury. And we shouldn't have to jump through ridiculous hoops. It needs to be better organized, and there's no excuse for it in every nation on this earth. So we have a very positive moment that will also come, but we have to process the grief. And we have to adapt. Despite the upheaval that we're in, it is a very transformative time. A very, very transformative time. And spirit, you need to tune into spirit. You need to look within. This is a time for us all, no matter where we are in the world, to reflect. And that's what we should be doing in this self-quarantine, not asking about when it's going to be lifted. Well, you can ask about when it's going to be lifted, but understand that this virus needs the time that it needs. And you will not dictate to your convenience when that is over. It is not for humanity to decide. Okay? It is a window of time for humanity to learn to get their shit together. And to open up and grieve and realize that we can't sit on our asses, figuratively. I'm disabled, I have to. But I can't walk. But we have to make those in government accountable. And if they won't be, then I guess by whatever means necessary, we get them out of office. They will not be serving. They do not, and this lifetime health care, they're going to get the same health care we get. What's good enough for them is certainly good enough for you and I. So we have a lot on our plate to change, from healthcare and to equality, dealing all that across the board, no matter what minority you are. Everyone It's time for everyone to be at the table and be treated as an equal and be treated with equal concern, and you know what I'm saying. It's time to grow up. It's time for society and the world's leaders to change and grow up, because we all know, excuse me, that coffee now, I'm kind of like, ooh. We all know that this has been a long time coming. And I really think it's a significant moment in time. And it's kind of hard for us to see it because we're right in it. Okay. And where are we at? All right, so this will be for the dream. I'm going to leave it at that, and then I'm going to so I'm going to stop this here, and I'm going to go next and read and record the dream with, I'm not sorry, the reading, the tarot conversation with Santa Muerta. Okay? All right. So this was for my dream, and for what I wanted to share with you, because I did tell you in the beginning when I started this channel that would be part of what I would be sharing on here. And so I am sharing that with you now. And I want you to be aware and have the benefit of that information that I'm sharing with you. That we are in a transformative time, to take it seriously. And to be ready to insist. And to drag out by the collar, if necessary, any official, no matter what party, that is not serving the populace the way that they should. All right, I'm just trying to make sure I've given you everything on this. Okay. I want to just finish this up, because I did not. Okay, so that was the 7th. I gave you on the 8th. I continued to have these dreams. So this video will be for the dreams. Okay, I think we've got that established. And I begin this part of my journal with another relentless night and early morning of nightmares, where I am trying to save the most vulnerable. I'm not trying, by the way, I'm not trying to come off like I'm some great hero, but it's just like if you saw an accident happening in front of you, you would try to do something. It's the same for me in these dreams. So I write, it's freaking my husband out. I don't usually have repeating nightmares where I'm talking out loud, and sometimes yelling in my sleep. This is highly unusual for me. And I did this again the other night with something, and I know this is about the virus related, and I think that it has to do with someone who is, again, I've been being shown high profile, male, adult, King of Pentacles that will pass. I believe they're a conservative. I don't know where this is or in what government, or if it's in America or elsewhere. I'm not sure, but he is someone who I think is going to end up passing. We're like, I'm being shown from my dreams that I have had again recently, that I feel like this individual, whoever he is, that time is, we're in it. So that's about as much as I can clear as I can get on that. And I'm being given that, and I'm sorry if that's vague, but that's what I'm getting. So anyway, continuing my journal. Um, this is highly unusual. Repeatedly, I was trying to save babies, small children, animals, cats, I wrote, and adults who are in the path without knowing it of a grave, deadly event or thing. I woke saying this morning, but what about the baby? The most vulnerable, be it human or other species that need protection. Honestly, I feel I may be like negotiating lives who are in danger without knowing it. I'm weary that innocents die and pay the price, and that those who make ruthless decisions don't, or get away with it. And it says, weary that the innocents die and pay the price, and that those who make ruthless decisions cause. Oh, that those who make ruthless decisions cause. Blah, sorry. It's time those who abuse their powers, profit, that seek profit and exploitation, pay firsthand instead. I feel heartbroken. I was shown in the cards the tower regarding whatever quote unquote this is, and this is back February 8th. I hadn't really at that time heard much about the virus, so I wasn't that aware of it. I know that there was information coming out in January, but I've been on bed rest since after Christmas, and I wasn't aware of the virus. So I just made note. Okay. All right. So I wrote, I'm shown in the cards the tower, whatever quote unquote this is, and that's the virus, I think. It could be a combo of a man-made natural destruction that occurs suddenly. It's extremely sad. I can't seem to stop weeping over this. How weird is it to have felt and dreamt of the same event for the future over 20 years ago, and yet the last 2 nights and early mornings have made me feel this event is closer. And this was February 8th. Could happen in days from now. So it was already beginning to happen, actually. I've never been shown what exactly it is, and I wasn't. And I've not been shown, hey, it's a virus, here it is. That's not always how it works. But I'm shown something symbolically as I'm sharing. One of the most bizarre psychic dreams I've ever had. This event can't be stopped completely. It has a long ripple effect. It involves, I can't even read my own writing. It revolves something that goes across the earth, buckling and toppling. So it was like affecting the earth and people living upon the earth. And our stability. Let's see. This is being more, let's see. Yeah. I feel so weird. Oh wait, no. I missed one. Okay. It caused a weird disruption to the environment and the innocent and vulnerables' needs and well-being, and not being able to personally save them despite my repeated efforts just traumatized me. I feel so weird since I've had the nightmares continue into dreams from 20 years ago. There is more being shared with me on some deep conscious nature via my dreams about events suddenly where there's no means to avert this awful, heartbreaking, shattering, unexpected, devastating event. I weep deeply for the loss I'm being made to feel and warned of. It's me in my dreams pleading. I was pleading and feeling firsthand and secondhand the destruction. I can go in, I have dreams where I can rest in the consciousness of other people. I can feel and see through their eyes and what they're feeling. Okay. The feeling firsthand and secondhand destruction, the fear, the struggle to find safety and stability, and to save all who I could that needed help, most vulnerable. We are days, moments away from a devastating, shocking loss that I can't stop. It will crush empaths. It will upset, sadden all who have a heart. It's a significant, powerful, destructive event that has to happen in order for needed change. Death, fear, depression, trauma, deeply shook. Deeply. It will be very deeply upsetting. But most occur for a greater awareness. It's a long established coming of consequences. It could be close to me as far as the area is concerned. I don't believe, however, that my personal family will be directed immediate, but I felt like many will. That could be wrong, folks. I take it. That does not make me feel like I still feel like we could. So I very worried. Still, also for my own family getting this. Anyway, back to my journal. I don't share my journal with anyone, by the way. So the fact that I'm sharing this, let alone publicly, is a big step for me. I'm an introvert and an empath, so I really don't care to open myself up to other people that don't value what I share. Many will be affected. If you're sensitive, empathic, it will actually be an extremely upsetting event that will cause most to be deeply affected that are empaths. It's on the level of a giant tsunami. The world shall be shocked, seek to help, but largely be helpless. It causes many spirits to leave their bodies in shock. Sudden death. I feel physically ill by this. Because yes, that's what happens to me. I'm revealing something very private about what I go through. And I hope you appreciate that. My wound back is the only thing that's kind of giving me a moment of comic relief while I read this. That's how I've gotten through my accident, folks, and gotten through difficult times of illnesses connected with my paraplegia, and I've had a lot of them, is gallows humor. So if you don't understand or appreciate it, you know, my channel will not be for you. Okay. So, let me get back to what I was sharing. So, if you're sensitive or an empath, it will actually be extremely upsetting event that will cause most to be very deeply affected by. Okay, I said it's on the level of a giant tsunami type, and the world shall be shocked and shock, seeking to help but feel largely helpless. It causes many spirits to leave their bodies in shock and a sudden death. I feel physically ill by this. I feel so badly, in fact, that I'm journaling it to cope. I can only guess I'm being warned, so that when it does occur, despite the shock and sorrow I will have, perhaps the universe knows it must alert me and give me more understanding ahead of it gradually. I discern it also as letting me know it's closer, a feeling of a number of days, hours, weeks away. Of course, it will be clear to me once it occurs. Well, it's clear to me now. People will need consolation. I'm one of many who will grieve. I feel grief, anxiety, fear, and I wrote devastation in all caps. It will bring waves of anger, too. It's also on the level of a huge event like where Putin shot down that Ukrainian plane with all those innocent people on board. It's like that. And I ended it because I lost my energy, and I just put, I feel absolutely leveled. So that is me sharing over 29 years back of dreams and warning with you now. And that's what I was meant to do. And this I do not say with any sense of grandiose purpose. I feel insignificant. I'm just a messenger, and I'm just hoping that I've done the right thing. And I hope that you'll join me every day in your homes to have a moment, and you know, you can use one of these if you don't have a candle. Sometimes it's not safe to use a candle if you tend to fall asleep, but these are awfully handy, and they flicker and they look like they're a candlelight. This is what I use for if I'm afraid that I'm going to fall asleep. It's my battery candle. But I also love real candles. So right now I have a candle that I'm burning, and I do try to every day. It's a habit, and I say my prayers up. And just like I am today, and I hope you'll join me in that. And especially please pray for the most vulnerable for all creatures, great and small, and all species and all life. And for those who are in office to truly serve the populace now, and for us to get rid of those who don't, and ask for divine intervention in that. Okay? All right, so, I feel actually a lot better sharing that with you. And if you want to share with me, I open up this conversation in the comments. And at any date and time that you come to this, please feel free. If you're a fellow empath and may have had similar experiences, or you haven't and you're curious, as long as you are respectful, I'll answer you. The minute I start getting, well, how do you think you're so blah, 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 I'm going to just delete you, and I'm not going to give you any more time than that. Because this is a no drama zone. I will not give you the energy or the time of mother effing day for bull crap. You take it seriously, or you go over to Rush Limbaugh. Okay? Bye. And for those of you, the many more of you that do take it seriously, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your time, and big hugs, big virtual hug to you. Maybe you're having a tough day. Let yourself have those days. Let yourself, if you feel like you need to, don't feel like you're weak for crying. And this is actually good for you. All right? Let it out. Let it out. And just, light a candle and do what you can do. And do what you can do by not overbuying, please. Do not overbuy. Now, if you have a condition, like if you're diabetic, then you have to be a person like myself. You're disabled, you can't get out as much, so when you do buy, you go out and you buy like a couple more. But you don't be a hoarder. You don't overbuy. We have to think of our that know that we are all related. We are all related, and think of it as that way. Would you buy so much that your mom or your dad, if they went shopping, couldn't, and let's say they couldn't share from you, all right? No. Well, you think that way about every other person then out there, you people that do that. Because you better think of the rest of us like that. That's what the universe wants to see us doing now, by being thoughtful and mindful. Mindful of not just ourselves, but mindful of ourselves and mindful of others, and to care as much for ourselves as we do for other people that we don't know. Now is the time for empathy and developing that. If you feel like you've got an icy heart, time to thought, okay? Don't know what else to say. Anyway, I'm feeling physically a lot better today. Still healing my wounds, but it's a really pretty sunny day. I wish I could roll out in it and just lay naked. But I don't have that kind of a neighborhood. That's why I want to move out to the sticks. A little, not too far, not too whatever. Okay, I'm blabbing. I did say it was going to be a blabathon, but anyway, it's a beautiful day. I want to end this on a positive note. And I send you all my prayers and my best wishes, and I lift you up in my daily prayers. So just know that you are cared about and that you matter. All right? And I want you to be good to yourself and to be good to other people. Okay? Even if they're being jerks. And sometimes that means that you have to be firm, but you keep them in line. All right, you keep your boundaries. You stand up for yourself. But you don't waste too much time with people that are a waste of time. Just pray for them and release them on their way. Okay? You can't fix everybody. All right? All right. So, bless y'all. I'll see you in the next video.